Before I get into this video, I just want to give my thoughts on the Danny Garcia-Sean Porter fight over the weekend. I didn't get a chance to cover it on the channel because I just was too tired Saturday night, so I went to bed and was busy all day yesterday, so it was only yesterday evening I got a chance to actually sit down and watch the fight, and by then I didn't see the point in making a post-fight. Just a few quick thoughts on it. It was a good fight. I thought Sean Porter won the fight. Close fight, but the right man got the decision. Just throwing that out there. Sean Porter, think the right man got the decision. Now back onto this topic. As you can see on screen, the WBC have released their latest rankings and their top 15. I'm going to read you the top 5 names out and just see if you can spot the odd one out. So at number 1 we have Dylan White. Now I've no problem with that. That's perfectly legit. At number 2 we have Luis Ortiz. And that's a bit interesting because I think at one stage Dominic Brazil was number 2, and it kind of makes me, kind of weird, like how that Ortiz can lose to Wilder and then fight Kajanu, who was pretty much a nobody, and then get put to number 2, which, say whatever you want to say about that. Then we get number 3, Tyson Fury. Is he the odd one out? Well, let's see. Number 4, we got Dominic Brazil. Dominic Brazil, apparently he's the mandatory challenger. I don't think he's fought since he knocked out Molina there back a few months ago. Then we have Tony Bellew. Now, Tony Bellew, 2 wins over David Haye's, big name, but an over-the-hill, shot to pieces and injury-prone David Haye, at the least, who had 5 years in activity and who hadn't fought anybody. I know he had 2 comeback fights, but let's face facts, they were absolutely garbage. They were garbage. They were probably a similar level to what Tyson Fury's fought. Maybe a bit. Actually, Mark DeMori, I'd pick him over Tyson Fury. And I'd probably maybe favour him over Francesco Pianetta. At least he tried. But the big issue here is Tyson Fury in at number 3 in the WBC rankings. I mean, he fought the second best cruiserweight in Albania in his first comeback fight. And then fought Francesco Pianetta, because he is a Pianetta, and he went the distance with him. People, Kevin Johnson knocked out Francesco Pianetta last year. Ruslan Chagayev, a fat, over-the-hill cruiserweight, a fat cruiserweight who was over the hill, Ruslan Chagayev, knocked Pianetta out in a round. Ruslan Chagayev is under 6 foot tall, and he's not known for being a devastating puncher. He knocked this guy out. And Tyson Fury went distance with him. This guy is terrible. And Tyson Fury is fighting him, and he's getting a number 3 ranking. Are you serious? Hughie Fury, I think, is what? Like 10th or something in the rankings? I don't have it on screen anymore, but I think he's low enough down in the rankings. And, he's been inactive. He only fought Sam Sexton, who's no great. There's nothing special really. But still, seriously. And Joseph Parker, okay, he's coming off 2 losses, but still, Joseph Parker is 6th. I don't know what to say about this. It reminds me a bit of what the IBF did with David Haye when he had the 2 fights against Jajai and Demori. I think they had him at number 4 or number 5. I know it was something ridiculous. They had him real high. I actually think the WBO had him mandatory at one stage, which that was, I think, after David Haye. Did he announce he was doing some work with Warren or not? I think he might have agreed to do some work with Warren and he got that mandatory, but I think once he signed up for the Bellew fight, they took that away fairly quick. But, this is silly. How can you justify... Alright, Derek Chisora is not that high up, and he beat Carlos Takam. Carlos Takam is a good fighter. Okay, he's not a world beater, but would you pick Carlos Takam over Tyson Fury? I know I would. Would you pick him over Francesco Pianetta? Probably stop him. And they're putting Tyson Fury in at number 3. This is just... I know we're getting the Wilder fight, but if we were getting the Wilder fight regardless, put him in the top 15. You don't have to be in the top 5 to get a voluntary crack. You just stick him at number 12 or something like that. I wouldn't be okay with it considering the quality of the 2 guys, but at least I could say, okay, fair enough. But you put him in the top 3? against guys like Dominic Breazeale, Joseph Parker, Derek Chisora, Hughie Fury, even Brian Jennings. Fair enough, Brian Jennings hasn't been fighting the best of the best, but at least he's been fighting. At least he's been fighting guys like Dimitrenko, and who else was it? Joey Dwecko. You know, you probably pick both of them. Maybe not Dwecko, but you definitely picked Dimitrenko to beat Pianetta. I mean, I don't even know what to say about this, but you know, it is what it is. I mean, I like Tyson Fury. I do. He's a good fighter. He's a great fighter. He's one of my favourite heavyweights. But I can't. No, I can't agree with this. This is just silly having him that high in the rankings. The rankings are really a joke. I mean, if you look across the board, I'll give you a good example, okay? The WBO, when Joseph Parker lost Anthony Joshua, they moved him like way down the rankings to like, I forget exactly where it was, but they moved him fairly down the rankings. I think it was like 8th or 9th or something like that. When Sergey Kovalev lost to Andre Ward, he was basically made number one challenger. He wasn't made mandatory, but he was made number one. What's the difference? Well, why is one guy loses to Anthony Joshua and the other guy loses to Andre Ward, and one's allowed to stay, you know, number one essentially, and the other guy's bumped right down the list? And even WBO, I know I'm going on about the WBO, it's WBC, who I should be mad at. But even when you look at like mandatory challengers, like Gilberto Ramirez at super middleweight is their the WBO super middleweight champion. He made a mandatory defense against Jesse Hart, and they just put Jesse Hart back in as number one challenger, and they're probably going to call him mandatory again, despite the fact he's fought pretty much nobody. So, you know, these sanctioning bodies, I really don't know what to say. It's getting beyond the joke at this stage. They just pick and choose who they want, and they all do it. Like, people will say the IBF are good. The IBF, they've enforced weak mandatories. Look at Kevin Bizier. He was Kell Brook's mandatory at one stage. So yeah, those are my thoughts on this. Look, if we get the Wilder Fury fight, it's pretty irrelevant where Fury is in the rankings. We're going to get that fight anyway. And yeah, as I've said before, I expect Deontay Wilder to win that fight. So those are my thoughts. Leave yours below. This is my video for today.